different and to improve your own health just a little bit, 1% more each day. So today I want to talk about something that someone asked me about. Well, I hope it will apply to you and your clients, might be very helpful, which is he asked me about his teenage son, and he asked me about really what's a good guideline for using the Thundershroomz to help him with his son, for his son's basic overall immune development during the adolescent years. The son's 14 years old, and it's the age where we start to see the first signs of stress and strain on boys and girls. And when they start to become young men and women is where we start to see really common, it's a common age where we see the first symptoms of autoimmune disease. People who have maybe lifelong chronic illnesses, very often the symptoms and the signs of them first start appearing in this age between 10 and 14 years old. And so he asked me, what can he do to help guide his son along a healthy development path? And what is it that makes it such a high risk time? Well, it's a number of things. Of course, our body's going through a lot of hormonal changes, and that brings everything that our body does internally. Anytime our hormone sends a signal for one part of our body to speak to another part of our body, or for one cell to perform some action, every time this happens, there's a whole bunch of byproducts that are created. There are a whole bunch of downstream reactions that are also affected. And as the body is going through hormonal changes during the development of the reproductive organs during this time, the overall, the byproducts and the leftovers and all the effects that will be happening from this very, once in a lifetime period, that's going to be floating throughout the body. It's not going to be, say, unnecessary strain. This is the natural part of every human's life, but it represents an increased time of concentrated effort for the body to really do a lot of things that are different to the way it's been doing things until that point. So if the body's faced with that naturally, it's just a naturally more strenuous time. In the same way, like a snake, I have a beautiful pet ball python, and she's lovely, and I'll bring her on the show sometime. Her name is Lima. But in the same way that my beautiful pet Lima sheds her skin, the body's shedding a lot of things as it's going through its changes, and internally it's shedding cells. And as we reach adolescence and puberty, it's shedding old hormones and in the preference of new hormones. And so this is just an overall period of high activity, of high stress for every part of the body. Every part of the body is doing something really new because this is the first time the body is going through these changes. Now, it's important to remember that the body is programmed with all these things. We are imprinted with the genetic instructions on how to grow from a tiny little bean into a full adult. And that includes our reproductive organs and our puberty development, development of our glands and our genitals. And what that really means is that where we are at that point of time, when we're going through such high amounts of changes, our state that our body is in is going to be directly responsible for how well or how poorly we manage those changes. So in the same way that we are imprinted, we are imprinted with all this information, and we are given the instructions on how to develop with a full, healthy, balanced immune system from childhood all the way to puberty, all the way to adulthood. Now, puberty is the first checkpoint, and we see a lot of things going wrong. But we were given the instruction. We were already imprinted from our innate immune system, and also from our early years. We developed our adaptive immune system to be strong. So why all of a sudden now at these pubescent years do we start to see a lot of autoimmune conditions? We were given the instructions. What's going on now? Well, we're in a time of stress. We're in a time of strain for the body. And if the body's in a less than optimal condition, then we have a higher chance of something to go, I wouldn't say wrong, but to provide higher amounts of stress, and the body may react in a way that's congruent with what we call autoimmune symptoms. Even things like acne. Of course, acne is a normal part of all people going through adolescence and puberty. But the specific types of acne, maybe cystic acne or pervasive acne or full body acne that that persists beyond the first years of puberty, this is really indicative of an immune system that has not come out the other side of puberty balanced and in say harmony with the other parts of the body. So it's important that at this age that not only do we support the immune development with something like Thundershroomz, and in this age, really, we're talking about the Vital Life Thundershroomz. Critical care, unless we're already seeing signs of immune issues, critical care is not really necessary for children under the age of 15, 16, 17. And Vital Life will be totally fine, especially for this period of adolescence. So the normal dose of 1 capsule per day of the Vital Life. It's important to remember that inside the Vital Life, the 1 capsule is equal to what we would normally take as 2 capsules when they're smaller. So the Vital Life, what you have 60 capsules inside the bottle, is a 2 month supply, and that's really good for when we have children or even younger than children. You can share 1 capsule between 2 people by opening the capsule and putting the powder into a drink and drinking it like that. So it's important to support at this age with Vital Life to really guide the immune system to be as balanced and, let's say, least harmful to itself as possible. And there's so many stimuli that are around us that are, especially when teenagers start to have a life of their own, they maybe go out and eat things that they're not really used to eating at home, or didn't grow up eating. And a lot of changes are happening not only inside the body but inside all around the environment, in the social environment, in the school world. Everything is changing, and so these are all stimuli, not just the cellular interactions inside, but the stimuli from outside, the interactions we have, and all these different interactions are really putting the adolescent in a state of change, in a state of stress, and if the immune system is not properly developed during this time, then they can play on each other. The stresses can make the immune system more imbalanced, and the immune system can therefore make the lifestyle issues and lifestyle health issues even more worse, such as acne persisting beyond puberty. So it's a very important time. Even though we have the imprinting from birth, we have the imprinting for ourselves on how to develop healthily through adolescence and into adulthood. But something along the way really stresses that pathway. And so Thundershrooms at the Vital Life level will be very helpful to guiding and assisting the teenager's immune system to develop in a balanced and healthy way. And this has really great knock-on effects. When we talk about using Thundershrooms as a therapy for autoimmune and chronic issues later on in life, issues that you or I might face with organ health or with lifestyle, the common lifestyle issues of diabetes and metabolic disorders of all types, autoimmune skin conditions, autoimmune organ issues, all these issues that we face later in life, they really can start from that very tender age of 10 to 14, when the body is really facing stresses from going through puberty. So starting out, we are given this beautiful blueprint of powerful longevity, and we start to see the first checkpoint where we're really challenged to follow this path is in puberty. So to have the Vital Life guide the immune system along, as well as consider it, we feel like we can eat everything when we're kids and when we're younger, and we really can, and we pay for it later. And that's the old riddle of health, which is like, when you have the wisdom about health and what to do, when you have the health, you don't have the wisdom to act on the health that you have. And later on, when you have the wisdom, you don't have the same health that you had when you were younger. So it's always it's a bit of a riddle and a catch-22. But we want to try to use the wisdom we know now, maybe share the wisdom with people that are young with us and guide them along, knowing that the issues we face later in life, they start young, they start early. So if we can get ahead of them, if we can help the body to have as least of a self-harming mode as possible as a result of the the challenges of puberty, then we can really the set up the young person for a long, successful, healthy, say, development all the way to adulthood. And that's with not just with supplementation such as Vitalife, but it's really through living the whole perfect day lifestyle. It's through conscious eating and consciously choosing to develop habits and lifestyle habits that are less toxic, that are less harmful than is the modern common way. The easy way that is so convenient for us is always going to be, in the modern day, the most harmful way. And every time we choose something the more natural way, we choose something the way it was done earlier, we choose a mushroom that is grown naturally in the wild, like Thundershroomz, and not a mushroom that's rushed through a lab to get it on the shelf to blast it out to all the shops, fast moving retail shops. When we choose something that's slower, when we choose something more natural, when we choose behaviors and lifestyles that's a little bit less convenient, we see the strengthening at the cellular level and at the behavioral level. And this is very much in the same way with our immune system. If we choose things that are less harmful for us, our immune system has less stress earlier in life, which will allow it to succeed throughout adulthood and into old age. So I guess it was a bit of a long answer for a short question, but I hope that this helps many of you, especially if you have clients with children and are wondering, well, if I take Thundershroomz for myself and I'm in my 40s and 50s, should my son, should my daughter, my niece, nephew, my friend's son, my best friend's son, I notice they have their recurring sickness, or they're always playing out in the mud and they're always going through challenged immune system. It's very likely that Thundershroomz would be very appropriate for them to start. And again, we're talking about at just the normal daily dose, which is one capsule, and in one bottle will last for 2 months. So it's a very budget friendly way as well of introducing a very powerful instruction on at a young age, when also the cost is lower than taking a higher dose at a later stage in life. So it's a good time to start. And of course, if anyone you know who would benefit from this, please share them this message. And don't forget, of course, even though Vitalife is helpful at a young age, of course, it is helpful all throughout adulthood. And the dose of 1 to 2 capsules, depending on how old you are, your size, and if you are having any type of recurring immune weakness. One thing the Vitalife is very, very powerful for is really boosting our defense against seasonal cold and flu, and that includes COVID as well. We in Thailand, I probably shared this before, but I'll say it again, which is that we for a long time, when we first had COVID hit Thailand, we didn't have the V shots. So the mushroom company that researches and develops the mushroom in Thailand, they were donating high dose protocols for many towns and communities in Thailand, and we're able to directly help um, several hundred or almost several thousand individuals with high dose protocols that were otherwise untreatable with vaccines that we didn't have at the time or other treatments. So it does provide a natural boost to your body's own defense system, and when combined with other such remedies as conscious living and conscious diet and removal or reduction of the toxic inputs, that overall allows your immune system to perform its best function. And the immune system is very powerful. The immune system, we're not supposed to be getting seasonal flus and cold, but we're very our immune capability is very high. So when we empower it, then we find lower susceptibility to seasonal flus and colds. Even in taking a high dose, we can use the Thundershroomz, as I said, for COVID. So the protocol for that is 45 capsules. It's a very high dose for symptomatic. This is when symptoms are showing, not just COVID, but any seasonal symptoms of a seasonal flu or cold. We take the high dose of the critical care, between 15 to 45 capsules per day. And that usually immediately helps to affect the inflammation in the throat, which will slow down progression of any and worsening of the cold from our throat to our chest or lungs. And that's really, once we keep our cold localized in the mouth, that's where we can fight it the best. So that's what VitalLife helps to do. And so it's really a great preventive way for us to keep our own immune stores high and balanced and protected against seasonal threats. So that's really all I wanted to share today, was about the power of the VitalLife, how it can help, from a very young age to put us on the right immune path for successful immune health, and really how it's good for all ages, for seasonal flus and treatments of even symptomatic cold and flu as well. And if you have any questions, please always welcome to email me at thundershroomz.docofdetox@gmail.com, or leave comments on the Facebook page. We will check them after the show. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you again always on Beyond Thundershrooms next week. Bye for now.